if they're a bunch of friends who can just like sort of text each other on the weekends regarding ideas that they have, and you don't necessarily have access to that pool, then it becomes extremely jarring.
So it's no secret that the tech industry has a little bit of a culture of being a boys' club. Have you seen that? How has that played out in the places that you've both worked?
It's a lot of these relatively young guys who started, you know, companies without any professional training, and it was like, hey, I'm coding with a bunch of my buddies. Who do I know has credibility in this area? And credibility was a function of how well do I know this person, and you know, that's one of the reasons that's contributing to this very slanted toward favoring like a lot of men in this industry.
Well, so being women who are from a technical background working in tech, right? You don't always see that. What do you say to the idea that, well, there just aren't enough women out there?
They're not looking hard enough. There are women coders, there are women in the industry, but I think a lot of them get overlooked because, you know, again, it's this old boys club, right? But there's also this, you know, there's this idea in the tech industry that a lot of what the tech industry does is based on this meritocracy, right? Yeah. Like it's, you know, what you do, not necessarily like what you present. But the reality of it is like that meritocracy, it still has this set of rules. That's based on what people perceive of you. And the perceptions of a woman who might speak and act in the same way that a guy would, she gets a totally different sort of perception of who she is in comparison to, you know, a man who might speak and act in the same way that she's trying to speak. If she is direct and, you know, to the point, a lot of guys interpret that as you're angry, you're aggressive, you're abrasive. You know, whereas a man who might speak in the same tones, using even the same words, he's thought of as like, oh, he's a go-getter.
What is the difference when you have, let's say, a female manager?
In my experience, you know, I've had it both ways. Right now, I'm actually really lucky to work for a company where almost 30% of our engineering team is women, which is unheard of. The first time in my career, I worked on a female-dominated team, and you know, like Laura said, a lot of the emphasis on, you know, cooperation and sort of communication and being able to relate to one another.
Really? Don't they just tear each other apart? Isn't it just a cat fight?
No,
it's totally not like that at all. It's so different. So right now, I work for a company that I think the staff is like 90% female, and it is a world of difference. You know, in other tech companies that I've worked for where it's been more male-centric, I learned to just sit there and listen to the entire room and never say anything unless I knew 120% what I was talking about. Because you'll get capitalized on big time.
Yeah, and I think that the fear of judgment and evaluation is so severe, and because women are conditioned to be more fearful of external opinions, I think that it can be really intimidating. Silicon Valley is saturated with not just men, but also extremely brilliant minds and people who come from all sorts of technical backgrounds, you know. But a lot of the barriers that manifest themselves in women sort of holding their opinions or ideas back has to do with inclusivity, right? So when it comes to the clustered problem of a lot of guys just hiring their buddies, right? It becomes sort of this casual friend group where the communication channels are lubricated with that friendship, and so they're already established. And so if they're a bunch of friends who can just like sort of text each other on the weekends regarding ideas that they have, and you don't necessarily have access to that pool, then it becomes extremely jarring, right?
What advice would you give to a young woman starting off in the tech field?
If you can really sort of renew your intention as to why you do what you do, right? And really keep your eye on the prize, so to speak. I think that it really sort of helps you stay focused on the goal that you're eventually trying to achieve.
You know who you are. You know the value of yourself. Don't let all of that noise from the outside like confuse that or defocus that for you.